He went the furthest in the Ultimate Fighter that anyone in our country has ever done. It's Kaan Ofli, and we got him here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Melbourne Pavilion. Not even backstage, we're literally outside. Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history? Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because...
Welcome to the Australian MMA podcast. My name is Mitch Tinley, and today's guest is Kaan Ofli. He is competing October 11th, 12th, Sunday, against Ricardo Ramos at the UFC Brazil. Charles Oliveira taking on Gamrot. And look, it's always a good chat with Kaan Ofli. He appears in the Australian MMA magazine issue 2, and I personally think it is a story of the magazine. He dives deep into his personal life, his upbringing, his childhood, and it is an inspiring story, to say the least. He doesn't often open that book. He's sometimes quite a protected man when it comes to sort of vulnerability, but I'm very honoured that he jumped on the magazine and, of course, the podcast as well to open up a little bit. Now, he is in Rio, in Brazil, the shittest internet in the history whenever you talk to anyone from Brazil. So I do apologise. First couple minutes are a bit shonky, where he kind of like, but the audio is fine. The audio is great. Goes through the whole way. So you could listen to it on Spotify, on the Australian MMA podcast, and leave us a review while you're there. Or you can subscribe on the YouTube channel as well and just like push through a little bit. It gets a little bit better as it goes on. But look, at the end of the day, just maybe put this interview on and also be doing something else, and then you won't notice as much. But yes, like I said, audio fine, story great, interview awesome. Kaan Ofli always is. He's back against the wall in this fight, 0-2, coming off being a finalist at the Ultimate Fighter. And man, it's tricky for him, because if he doesn't get this bout, he very well could be cut. I mean, that's how they play the rules of the game. Josh Culibao was 0-3 and he got cut. Ironically, Josh Culibao did lose a split decision, which I thought he won, against Ricardo Ramos. So Kaan Ofli, in a way, gets to do a bit of revenge. So, look, it's a good chat. It's like 40% about fighting. The rest is just about being a new dad. He's got a 12-day-old that he's had to leave in Melbourne as he chases his dream and fights for his family in Brazil. So listen to the interview. Give Kaan Ofli a follow on social media and check it out Sunday morning. It'll be on UFC Fight Pass if you are in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I want to thank our sponsors, Vex MMA, DCA, and, of course, our Combat Sports Insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaan Ofli. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's none other than Kaan Ofli. Mate, welcome. Looking good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, mate. Feeling in great condition. Getting some of that Rio sun. A little bit sunburnt, but yeah, feeling good.
I mean, obviously you get into fight camp and you get fight ready and whatnot. But do you kind of ever feel in better shape, like each fight? Like, do you feel like you're in the best shape you've ever been in, type thing?
Yeah, I guess you do it so many times, and you try and perfect the things that, you try and tighten up the screws each camp. So yeah, definitely each fight that I have, as long as I've got, a solid camp, I think I'll get better and better.
In terms of being an Australian fighting on a Brazil card, are you ready to be the villain? I am.
I'm looking forward to it. I really don't know what to expect, because this is my first time that, one, fighting in front of, 20, 25,000 people, but also 20,000 people that are probably going to be, wanting me to, not win. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be crazy energy, and just, in saying that though, like just being around the hotel and being around in Rio, like, everyone's pretty friendly. I thought that I'd get a bit more hostility, but everyone's pretty friendly, and they got the soccer culture, so they're always just going to be chanting. Even if there's nothing happening in the fight, the vibes are going to be a lot different here. So I'm so excited to experience it.
Yeah, and I feel like the crowd doesn't just boo you; they often chant for you to die.
Yeah, well, my my objective is to see if I can silence 20,000 people.
And you got fellow Aussie Stewie Nicol on the card. Have you ever chatted to him?
No, I haven't. I've never met him or had a chat to him, so I'm sure I'll bump into him soon and we'll link up. It's nice to have another Aussie with me on the card. So yeah, I'm sure we'll definitely meet. And
Do you just immediately become friends if they're Australian and you're on an international card?
I think so. I think that's the thing now. I think now all the boys and girls that are from Australia and New Zealand were like one army. I don't know that's what I feel. I feel like some of them feel that too. So and it's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's
It's
almost
cool.
like
I like it. Yeah.
when you're regional, it's almost like crabs in a bucket. Like everyone's trying to pull at each other to make it to the next level, and then when you finally make it to the next level, it's like everyone's on the same team.
Yeah, everyone was kind of fighting each other, trying to get to that spot. But once we're all in that, we're like the Justice League, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're all in our. Yeah.
No, it's cool. And mate, obviously, people might have seen you in the Australian MMA magazine, which I appreciate you partaking in and diving into a bit of your story. How did it feel to sort of get that all out there for everyone on paper?
Yeah, thanks for giving me that opportunity, and it was nice. There's been times that I've spoken about my story, and there's been the last few years where I decided not to talk about my story just because these are the things that I've overcome, and I wanted to focus on more of my achievements and what I'm doing now. But yeah, I think a few people have messaged me that have read the story and it's touched them. So could be inspiring for people or motivation or whatever it is. But yeah, it came up really good.
Do you bounce between being proud of sort of the speed bumps you've had to go through, but then also kind of going, like you said, oh no, I want to focus on what I'm doing now and the achievements I've got now?
Yeah, if anything, I'll just use that as a reminder if I'm ever feeling down or if I'm, ever struggling in life, that's my anchor, So if I could walk through all that fire, then, the issues that I come across nowadays is not really real. So yeah, that's how I use it.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, as a UFC fighter, obviously you would have some, I don't know, maybe your training partner that you really want isn't available because he has to work, or I don't know, something like that, and that's a problem. Where like 5, 10 years ago, just being able to afford your gym fees was the problem. Would you feel like it's a bit weird now, like some of these issues?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like you wouldn't even want to talk about them issues because people will probably look at you funny. You know, I guess that's Hollywood now.
Well, yeah, I mean but that happens here. Like, I remember, like, if I got a UFC fighter, it was like the greatest thing in the world. Where now I'm like, what do you mean Conor McGregor's busy? Like now I'm like real like as you like climb the ladder, we're just never happy.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I guess that's just how the sport evolves and how athletes evolve as well. Once you get to this level,
You done much media leading up to this fight? Any Brazilian sort of chats?
I've got media coming up in the next over the next 2 days.
Is anyone bringing up the whole, 0-2, you don't want to be 0-3 type deal? And are you sick of hearing it?
You have. You're the fucking first person that's brought it up, bro. Um, uh, yeah, like that's it's obvious.
Mm.
My grandma probably thinks the same way. Even though she doesn't watch the sport. No one would want to
Mm.
keep going on a losing streak. Uh, and of course, yeah. Um, my goal is to get back into the winning column, definitely.
Does it play into your mind and do you have to kind of almost push it out and go, no, 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 this is just, I've just got to attack this fight as this fight?
Uh, no, the last fight I had them mental hurdles which were subconscious. I didn't think it was there, but it was based off my performance and my hesitancy in the fight. It was a subconscious really worrying about that first loss that I had experienced in 8 years. So uh, really that first loss actually probably affected me more than what I thought, because yeah, it had been so long since I had lost, so I wasn't familiar with that feeling.
Mm.
So, going into the next fight, I really made sure I had a great preparation and that I was in tip-top nick, and, strategy, everything was great. But I just couldn't pull the trigger. I was a little bit hesitant in some moments. I believe Muhammad Naimov didn't get the best Kaan Ofli, and if he did, that I believe I still beat that guy. Um, so, going into this fight, yeah, I've now experienced them two little things that were a little bit unfamiliar to me. So yeah, I've put that beside me now. I'm going in there to kill, and that's it.
How do you get over stuff like that? Do you have a good team around you? Do you have a stern chat to the mirror? Like, how do you get over those little hurdles?
I have a very good intuition, and I can I'm really good at, you know, reading my thoughts and emotions, and trying to understand why I feel a certain way, so I can come to conclusions a little bit easier. And that's just through experience and life experience. So, of course, yeah, I've got good people around me, coaches, my wife, people that anchor me and make sure that I'm on the right path, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, yeah.
That's cool. And I mean, you talk about the right people in your corner, and I was talking to your teammate Jack Jenkins before his fight, and he said that you guys almost bonded even more than usual in both of these camps. Did you guys really kind of lean on each other in this prep?
Yeah, we did. I was getting ready for Perth, so the vibe was kind of like that we're both going to be fighting on the same day, and we're getting ready together, we're training together. I've also recently started training at the ring gym too, so I'm training with him a little bit more often. And yeah, like we're trying to help each other, and we know that we're our best asset at the moment. So we've really grown this camp together. Obviously, I didn't fight on the Perth card, uh, and but I've supported him the whole way through, and he's supported me, and it's been really, yeah, it's been really nice.
And he talked about his preparation, obviously the emotion he showed after the fight. You were a guy getting him ready. What was it like to finally see him get back in that cage and get the victory?
I was, man, I was super proud of him, but also at the same time, I didn't know that he was holding on to that as well. So um, even though I was training with him and with him 5, 6 times a week, uh, I knew that it meant so much to him, and that like anyone, when you're coming off a loss, you want to get back into the winning column. But it was more than that. So, and I haven't suffered an injury like that, and I know that it would affect anyone. So for him to bounce back and put on a dominant performance and get the job done, I was so proud of him, and I was proud of him for even showing his his emotions as well. It takes a lot of courage, and you have to be quite brave. And I know he would have touched a lot of people on that too. So I guess thanks, yeah, thank you for Jack for being yourself. So yeah, he's a top bloke.
Do you think MMA is kind of going in the right space in terms of guys being themselves, and it's not this whole like if you cry you're a bitch and all that sort of stuff? Like it seems to be like really sort of just welcoming to everyone lately.
Either it's the sport, or maybe it's just the era that we're in now. As men, we're we're starting to understand that it's okay to speak up and express your emotions, and the old school mentality of bottling things up and not talking about your problems is actually the wrong way to deal with things. Whereas the old generation, that's probably how they would go about things. And lately, forget about MMA, but just in the world in general, there's so many, the suicide rates are ridiculous with men. So I think it's really positive. I think it's just a shift in the world, that men and boys, women, everyone in general is understanding that, how to deal with their emotions a little bit more, and taking care of their mental health a little bit more, and it pays off.
And without going too in depth, because like I said, everyone can read the story in issue 2 of Australian MMA. You've got such a great story in that magazine, but you would have felt that probably too as like a young guy, like almost having to step up early. Of you would have bottled your emotions at a young age.
Yeah, I was bottling it up from a young age, and all the way up until my teens and adulthood. So it probably wasn't until the last 5 years that I started shifting away from that. And it's not an overnight thing. It takes work. Izzy's another example of it. Speaking with psychologists and mental health, or performance coaches and all that stuff. So, and that's one of the greatest, man. That's one of the goats. So. Yeah, it's important, man. That's one part of it. Forget about if you're doing MMA or
Mm.
anything else. You got to look after your mental health.
I mean, you mentioned Izzy and of course City Kickboxing, Israel Adesanya, and all those boys. You've spent some time training there. You've obviously spent some time at Bali and all over the place. What made you sort of really want to return home to Absolute in Melbourne?
Melbourne is my home, and it's where I've prepped for all my fights and camps. So, um, it was Bali was just like a little opportunity that had opened up when I didn't really have anything going on in Melbourne. And it's one of them things that when and this is for anyone out there listening, or any young athlete like or fighter, it's okay to like make little decisions in life and to take different paths for your experience or for your growth or whatever it is. And I'm sure if you've got a good group of people around you, then they'll understand why you're doing it. But also understand that if you decide that that path that you took was the wrong path, it's okay to turn back. It's okay to make a change. And, it's only bad if you stay on that path.
Mm.
So, and that was one of them experiences for me. A lot of times I've always taken chances in life. I've made a lot of sacrifices in life to support my sport and to stay in this sport. And sometimes it hasn't always been the right decision. And, sometimes you just have to chop and change. And, I'm really grateful to have, a strong, and I'm a supporting team and family around me. So, yeah, I'm back home in Melbourne, and yeah, I'm loving life. Got baby, got family, got the momentum going now, and yeah, I'm really happy, bro.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, becoming a dad and whatnot. How are you finding it all?
I'm finding it quite hard being away from my newborn. He's only 12 days old now, so
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah, I'm really like my wife's. I'm calling her all the time with video chat, and he's showing me. So that keeps me sane, which is nice. Thank God for technology. But yeah, look, I am. Yeah, I'm at a really happy place, man. I'm really content right now with my life. I'm really motivated. So yeah.
D Does it take the sting off trying to be a killer and more like this is a job I'm providing, or has it not really affected your fighting personality much?
I don't know. It's a little bit of both because, man, that little boy, like, he's giving me so much purpose in life, man. He's giving me so much love. He's given me so much peace, and I can't explain what he's given me already. And whatever happens to me, like, or with this sport, or if I win or if I lose, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. In saying that, you know, he's my motivation, and he's going to be looking up to me. So yeah, that killer instinct has come out again.
Mm.
And so it's a combination of two. It's a combination of, it's the result really doesn't matter, truly, but it does matter.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's yeah,
Nah, I
yeah.
like we've talked about
And
before, like as a dad myself, 100%, like I agree. You become almost like softer until anyone tries to affect that kid's life, and then you become meaner, which in a way is someone taking money away from you. And that's wins, losses, all that sort of stuff.
exactly,
That affects your kid.
exactly.
That makes you meaner.
exactly, bro. And that's the situation that I'm in now. Someone's, trying to hurt me.
Mm.
He's trying to take money out of my family's mouth. Um, you know, he's, and I'm not gonna let that happen.
And has it kind of made you give like a all new love for your partner because she's probably taken all the times when you should be sleeping and she's getting up and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I didn't realize would happen too, but my love for her has grown. Obviously, one, because she has to do a lot of the work in terms of, supporting this baby and being the carer. But this last week when I was obviously, yeah, I've been in training camp, and we had the baby, and she she pulled the couch out. She pulled the couch out into the lounge room and said, "You know what? You take the bed this week. It's your last week of fight camp. I want to make sure that
Wow.
you're trying to sleep." And in saying that, I was still waking up at 5 a.m. because, I wanted to be around them and
Mm.
support them as much as possible. But, the fact that she's doing that, and thinking that way, I have so much love for her.
Wow. And you let her do that. What a jerk.
Don't do that. Come on.
No, man,
I
that's
pulled my neck card, you know what I mean?
no, that's really, really cool. So not you haven't gone out necessarily in public. You haven't done the whole like baby in life
Look,
thing. You just
it's not a single couch too, by the way. It's like a nice flat, on the bed. It's like a, Japanese vibe, you know what I mean? She's quite comfortable. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a finalist of the Ultimate Fighter couch. It's not, it's a nice couch.
yeah.
That's that's cool, man. I mean, do you find yourself though rushing training to get back home?
Yeah. Um, yeah, where normally I'd like cool down and
Yeah,
stretch. It's like, fuck it.
yeah.
Just drive straight home and spend time with the baby. So especially because I was leaving,
Mm.
especially because yeah, I really wanted to make them hours and days count. Um, and yeah, just be present.
Yeah, that's cool, man. But it's like, you're doing the thing that you need to do, which is like, unfortunately, you got to take a half a step back to give them the life that is going to afford you the ability to be home at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday when normally you'd be working 9 to 5 in an office or, at a construction site. So you're doing the hard yards, mate. You really
Exactly.
are. That's really, really cool. So
Exactly.
in terms of the fight, Ricardo Ramos, I mean, he's fought a fellow Aussie before. I think he beat Josh Coolabauer. Did you watch that bout? Have you watched much tape on him?
Yeah, of course. No, I haven't watched all these fights, but yeah, I've watched the fights that I needed to watch. Yeah, no, I've watched the Culibao fight, obviously.
Is there much about his game that is a concern this fight camp that you've like sort of worked on?
Yeah, like of course he's tricky. He's all rounded. He's a black belt. He's a good grappler, and he's a very unorthodox striker. And obviously the guys that he's hurt and finished and got performance of the nights is from his spinning elbows. So um, that's a quite an obvious one. So I believe I've got all the tools to beat this guy. I believe wherever the fight goes, standing on the ground, I just believe that I'm the better all-rounded fighter.
And we talked about obviously you having to get over almost being gun shy. The last fight, is that completely behind you now? Are you willing to fight free, Kaan Ofli?
We'll see Saturday night.
And how are you going with the time change and whatnot?
Time change is okay. Just naturally, anywhere that you travel to takes a couple of days to adjust to the time zone. But I came out a little bit earlier than what the UFC had scheduled athletes to come out. So yeah, this is 2 days here now. So I've still got like 6 days before the fight. So it's got plenty of time to get my rest and adjust to the time zone.
And are you walking around Brazil freely? Have you been robbed? Like, what's it like?
Yeah, like I was a bit concerned, like with how that was gonna go. I've got a friend here actually, from Melbourne, so he's been our kind of our tour guide and our translator slash security guard for the time that we're here. So, but in saying that, man, I feel quite safe. Like, you know, yeah, walking around the streets and all that. Like, obviously, I'm not hanging out in the favelas, I'm sure it'd be quite different there. But you know, especially where the UFC have us here, it's quite a nice polished area. So yeah, it's all good.
That's awesome, mate. Now, come Saturday/Sunday morning for the Aussies, what can we expect in this fight? And do you have a bit of a prediction going in?
Yeah, you guys can expect intensity from the weigh-ins, and in terms of the fight itself, I believe I'm going to finish Ricardo Ramos.
I love it, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time, and you're always welcome here. And just look, it's great to see you not just progressing as a fighter, but as a human and as a dad. I think that was probably my favorite thing to chat to you about.
You're a legend, mate. Thank you. I appreciate that.